I'm looking to travel to a war-torn country that I might not even be able to leave. That's not something we get very often. Let's see, I have North Korea, Yemen, Syria. No, I need something a bit more tropical. Oh, I know just the place for you. Welcome to the Central African Republic, located in, well, you guessed it, the center of Africa. It's a newer country that ranks as one of the poorest and most dangerous in the world. But how could this resource-rich country be facing such an extreme poverty and security crisis? Well, for most of human history, the region that is now known as the Central African Republic was known for its trade of copper, salt, and textiles. But this all changed in the 1800s when Europeans invaded Africa during the scramble for Africa. Most of Central Africa, including the Central African Republic, came under the control of France. Maybe the French will be nice and invest in Central African cities, communities, and infrastructure, said nobody. Instead of bringing good French food to the area, they made life hell for Central Africans. The French Empire ran its African colonies like a business. The government awarded contracts to private companies whose sole job it was to strip natural resources from the area. But the French people did not want to work in that African heat. Instead, they forced Central Africans into working for little or no money. Oh, well, you didn't agree to this job that has no pay? Oh, well, they're holding your family hostage as well. This terrible system lasted in French colonies until World War II, and during this time, thousands of Central Africans died under harsh conditions. After World War II, Central Africans became extremely discontent with the tyrannical French government and began to push for independence. They formed independence parties before gaining autonomy in 1958 and complete independence for the Central African Republic in 1960. Now that the country is free, everything's going to be great. Just about the opposite happened. After years of harsh rule, the country was left poor and underdeveloped. Even though the new country was rich with precious resources like diamonds, it failed to develop thanks to corrupt government officials and the fact that many armed groups controlled diamond mines. And speaking of armed rebel groups, instability has raged throughout the country since its independence, with the government being overthrown 6 times since 1960. The country has also failed to develop as a result of a 13 years long civil war that is currently raging in the country. The conflict began largely over religious lines, with Christian rebel groups known as the Anti-Balaka fighting against Muslim rebel groups known as the Seleka, and the weak government has done little to step in. Even the country's capital, Bangui, has been the site of intense fighting, even ethnic and religious cleansing. Man, I hope that countries all around the world are trying to help this violent situation happening in the Central African Republic. Hey, is that Russia? Yeah, Russia is heavily involved in the Central African Republic's civil war. It has helped fund armed groups in the country and has taken the opportunity to seize diamond mines and other resources inside of the country. Its infamous Wagner mercenary group has even been deployed inside the country and has committed numerous atrocities throughout the conflict. Even if the war ended today, life still would not be easy. It's estimated that over 80% of the population lives below the poverty line. It's a struggle to even get food. One of the most important foods in the country are caterpillars that are scavenged from forests. But it's not like the Central African Republic has no food. There are regions in the country that produce a lot. The main problem lies in its infrastructure. The country's roads are mostly dirt and have not been maintained. And during the rainy seasons, they become completely impassable. Short drives can take hours or even days, and most people don't even own cars in the country because of extreme poverty and destruction from the Civil War. If there's no mode of transportation, the country can never be unified and grow. At this point, I usually tell you places that you can visit in a country, but that's really not something you can do. The US Department of State has placed the Central African Republic on its do not travel list. Like I said earlier, I think that the biggest problem facing the Central African Republic is a lack of infrastructure. And I haven't found a great way that you can help a country rebuild its road network, but the best thing that you can do is help spread awareness, or you can donate to the United Nations Central African Republic Humanitarian Fund to help with essential services in the country. If you made it all the way to the end of this video and learned something new about the Central African Republic, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for our next trip to the Central African Republic's neighbor, Chad.